Ukrainian forces have recaptured nearly 80 square miles of territory from occupying Russian troops since launching a counteroffensive last month, the Defense Ministry claims. Giving an initial update on Monday from around the front line, Ukrainian military officials claimed their troops had captured more than 65 square miles on the southern front and up to 14 square miles around the eastern town of Bakhmut. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky acknowledged that progress was slower than he and his generals would like, but said it was Ukrainian forces that took the initiative. Both sides released a slew of footage from the front lines in recent days, showing savage trench warfare and the destruction of armored vehicles in missile attacks. Much attention in recent days has focused on the ongoing struggle for Bakhmut, particularly in the village of Kyiv on the southern outskirts of the city. Bakhmut has for months been at the center of Ukraine's bloody conflict, with the bitter trenches of World War I and artillery warfare in the countryside around the city being replaced by brutal close-quarters urban combat at its center. Video footage shows fighters from the 53rd Separate Mechanized Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, named after Prince Volodymyr Monomakh, repelling a massive attack by the Russian invaders, destroying all 9 infantry fighting vehicles that took part in the attack. The unit's press service announced this on its page on the social network Facebook, publishing the relevant video with comments. The enemy attempted a breakthrough attempt. All units of the 53rd Brigade reacted instantly and mercilessly eliminated all offensive equipment and personnel. People's Deputy and Frontline volunteer Yuri Misyagin in the comments under the same video indicated that it happened near the occupied Vodyany and Optany between Avdiivka and liberated Donetsk. The video shows that the enemy columns are destroyed, at least by self-propelled artillery units, tanks, calculations of anti-tank missile systems to regulate fire by unmanned aerial vehicles. The Ukrainian military said it was making progress on its southern front and had conducted an effective offensive defensive operation. Valery Shershin, a spokesman for troops in the south, said Russia had been forced to draw reserves due to the onslaught by our strike units. He said other Ukrainian units continued to consolidate their positions, carry out mine demobilization, and are in readiness number 1 to continue the offensive. Ukrainian officials have made it clear that minimizing losses is their priority as they try to destroy the complex Russian defenses developed over months. In the east, Russian attacks continued around Marinka and Avdiivka. Shershin said, "We fought and defended our land. During the last day, 18 battles took place here, mostly in the Marinka area." In another video, artillery of the Ukrainian Armed Forces destroys 2 203mm Pion self-propelled artillery installations and 2 more 152mm Hyacinth self-propelled guns from the Russian invaders. This was announced today by the press service of the Commando of the Special Operations Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine on its page on the social network Facebook, publishing the relevant video edited from footage taken by unmanned aerial vehicles. In addition to the self-propelled guns, our guns destroyed the R-325U radio jamming station, the Lyre electronic warfare station, 2 P-18 Malakit radar stations, and the Kasta-2 E-2 radar. This was the catch in a week of just 1 air reconnaissance unit of the SSO Armed Forces of the Ukrainian SSR, which found fat targets and adjusted artillery fire on them. Russian and Ukrainian military forces fire tens of thousands of rounds of ammunition daily, requiring increased production from Ukraine-backed NATO allies as the counteroffensive continues. It was estimated earlier this year that Ukraine fired 155mm artillery shells in about 5 days as the US produces in a month, but that is likely an underestimation. Artillery is the biggest killer on both sides of the war, projecting it causes about 80% of all overall casualties in this ongoing war. The seemingly effortless high utilization rate of artillery shells is because they are effective. Meanwhile, The Kremlin has rejected claims by Ukrainian military intelligence that members of Russia's Wagner mercenary group intended to acquire nuclear devices during the failed uprising in June. The General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces reported on July 12 that Russia had lost 235,530 soldiers in Ukraine since the start of its full-scale invasion on February 24 last year. This number includes the 510 casualties suffered by Russian forces over the past few days. Russia launched airstrikes on the Kyiv region for the second night in a row in the early hours of Wednesday, but Ukrainian air defense systems were involved in repelling the attack, according to the Kyiv Regional Military Administration. The attack followed an overnight raid on Monday in which a Russian-launched drone was shot down by Ukrainian air defenses. Near the occupied city of Berdyansk, the Ukrainian Armed Forces destroyed the Russian invaders' barracks at the Dune Hotel. This was reported en masse by locals on social networks and Telegram channels. It is also interesting that, according to some commentators, the occupiers seized the hotel from its legal owners, who were evacuated to free territory. Berdyansk was out of range of HIMARS-type rocket launchers, but earlier it was indicated that Sokov was knocked out by the Storm Shadow missile. According to various sources, he hit at a distance of 250 to 300 km. On the other hand, the Defense Forces missile and artillery units hit the command post, 3 personnel concentration points, an ammunition depot, 7 artillery pieces in firing positions, an electronic warfare station, and 1 anti-aircraft defense device from the Russian invaders. Meanwhile, a fighter from the 24th Separate Assault Battalion, Adar Stanislav, referring to local residents, said today that the Cotton destroyed an ammunition depot of the invaders in Novoaleksiyevka near Hanichesk, Kherson region.